Now we're going to begin the main portion of the program. We've asked each of the three venerables, beginning from my immediate right, Venerable Khenpo Kalsang Gyaltsen from the Tibetan Mahayana tradition, and next Venerable Dr. Tanat Intisan from the Thai Theravada tradition, and to his right, Venerable Myombap Sunim from the Korean Zen tradition. And first they will explain an important sutra from their tradition relating to compassion, then explain a related meditation on it, followed by a brief period of meditation. And then at the end we'll have questions on each of the Venerables' presentations. So as you're listening, please try to think of some good questions, which will make it interesting for all of us. So as Professor Hilda Beidel explained, this is a unique opportunity to be able to hear about a single topic from three different traditions. First, I'd like to introduce in some more detail Venerable Khenpo Kalsang Gyaltsen from the Tibetan Mahayana tradition. Khenpo Kalsang is the abbot of Tsechen Kunchapling Temple in Walden, New York, which is the U.S. headquarters of the Sakya Order of Tibetan Buddhism in the United States. He's also the spiritual director of Sakya Punsokling Center for Tibetan Buddhist Studies and Meditation in Silver Spring, Maryland. He's a widely recognized and accomplished teacher and translator of Tibetan Buddhism. Born in Tibet, he's very learned in Sutra and Tantra and has spent many years in meditation retreat. He received ordination and advanced religious training from many great teachers of the Sakya tradition, and for the past 3 decades, he has taught the Dharma widely in the United States and Southeast Asia. And he is very active in translating a variety of texts, and in fact has recently undertaken a project to translate several sutras from the Tibetan Tripitaka canon into English. So let's welcome Khenpo Kalsang.
I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share some words of the Lord Buddha, which I have learned from my precious teachers, and then also that shared some the life story of the Buddha and how it is related, the Buddha's teaching, Buddha himself, and then also the great masters, how they explained about the compassion acts in according to Mahayana tradition. Thank you very much to all the faculties and Anigunga, including everyone, to have this opportunity for us to share this one. Now first, I wanted to say about that the Buddha himself, because that the Buddha is the source of all the Buddhist teaching. So because of that, then the Buddha's his own life, the previous life, or the holy biography of the Buddha, how it became Buddha, that itself is actually none other than the compassion. So because of that, I thought I wanted to tell a little bit about Buddha's previous life. Buddha was not any different than any of us before. In fact, he was also that became as that ordinary being, and also that fall into that the hell realm in the prior time. And because of that, in the hell realm, when he saw that some of those beings who are experiencing tremendous suffering in hell, he thought that special compassion toward them by thinking that how it will be wonderful that I can take the suffering of the beings who are experiencing the suffering in the hell realm, and then also let them to free from this suffering that in that hell realm, he thought. And as his wish, then he also mentioned to guardians of a hell realm, and said that let me take that all the suffering of my colleague they are experiencing, and let them to free from this hell. And then the guardians of hell, they said, you are experiencing the suffering of what you have accumulated unwholesome karma. If that is not enough, the suffering for you, then I will smash you again by saying that they smashed the hammer on his head. And because of that smashing, and then normally in the hell beings, when they die again, then they say the revive. So it's supposed to revive until the exhaustion of the negative karma. It would not pass, able to pass from that hell realm. But due to that the motivation, then he was passed away from that hell realm. And then also they took in a higher rebirth as the heaven, at the heaven. Then he also due to that the clairvoyance of that the heavenly realms beings, he understood that one was that because of the strength or the power of generating the compassion toward that the other being. So because of that, he thought this is not enough for me. To saving a few beings, in order to save that each and every sentient beings their individual suffering, I need to achieve the highest attainment, Buddhahood, perfect the enlightened ones. So he thought in that way that he generated first enlightenment thought. So that was the first one compassion act. Then after that, it is said that Buddha Shakyamuni was the accumulation of merit heap and accumulation of wisdom heap for 3 countless eons. And during those times, then also numerous hardship that he undertook. And then one of the example, there are that Jataka tale, which has that 108 different the Jataka tale, which is translated from Sanskrit language into the Tibetan. So there are out of that Jataka tale, I will briefly mention about that something story of that Buddha's from former life, Bodhisattva stage, that one. Accumulation of the merit and wisdom heap. So merit and wisdom heaps, basically, accumulation of merit and accumulation of wisdoms are that the main method of achieve that the Buddhahood, which is also to be called 6 paramita, 6 perfections. And so in this way, then I will tell this story later on, but then accumulation of this merit and wisdom heap, finally he achieved the highest attainment, Buddhahood, in Agnishtha realm. And so that is called the ultimate, the body, which is the final transformation of the mind. That is called the Dharmakaya, which is that away from all extreme. There is no color, shape, size, and location that can be pointed, but it's the transformation of that the mind is that's Dharmakaya, and then which is achieve the highest attainment. And then even to reach to that level, finally, then it is not something cessation and negation, but constantly perform the welfare of sentient beings through the 2 Rupakaya, which we call the physical form. And then the Rupakayas are the Sambhogakaya and the Nirmanakaya. Sambhogakaya can be perceived by the highest form of bodhisattvas who constantly receive that the Mahayana Dharma teachings from that the Buddha and in the pure realm. As a similar type of that Nirmanakaya can also perceive that the ordinary sentient beings. So Buddha Shakyamuni is considered from the Mahayana point of view is a Nirmanakaya, emanation body, which he took that birth in the son of King Shuddhodana and performed the 12 deeds. And then among them the most beneficial thing is that after he gained that the perfect enlightenment, Buddhahood then taught the Buddha Dharma teaching, which is the greatest gift, which is that the compassion act for the benefit of sentient being. So that is that these 3, how to generate enlightenment thought at the beginning for the benefit of sentient being, and secondly, then accumulation of merit heap and wisdom heap for 3 countless eons, not 3 life or the 3 a number of those ones, but incalculable of the life, the eons that he accumulated. And finally, then demonstrate there is the possible to achieve the perfect enlightenment, Buddhahood, by anyone. So he demonstrated